Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday Western U.S. regional forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, one thing I want to bring to your attention is a little bit of international weather that could be impacting West Coast ag products. And I'm going to take you over to Europe and rewind the clock just to yesterday. These were the minimum temperatures recorded across Europe, and this is a snapshot here from the European model. And what I want you to see here is that the break right down here is at 0 degrees Celsius. We're looking for how broad of an area experienced temperatures that were below freezing. Now, a lot of this is going to be elevation dependent, but you can see throughout much of Europe, including parts of France, Germany, getting over toward Poland, then all of the countries that are tucked away here in and around the Mediterranean and the Aegean Sea. This is a large area here that did experience below freezing temperatures. And when you look at how different it was from normal, some of those locations were up to 12 degrees Celsius colder than average. We've heard some reports about some damage to some of the crops grown in this area. Some tree fruit, cherries, pears. I've heard about some other things. It's not broken on a widespread news story, so I can't find a lot of news articles. But this was an important problem that Europe just experienced because much of their winter has been this way. I mean, this is the last 45 days of temperature anomalies. It's been a very, very warm winter and early spring. So this cold snap has been a bit of an issue for this section of Europe. So I want you to keep an eye out on this. If you hear about any problems, can you let me know? I want to keep my finger on the pulse of these global issues that we have with weather, and it'd be good to hear if you've heard any from your specific industries. All right. Now, as we come back to what we need to be discussing here over in the West Coast of the United States, I just want to show you the latest drought monitor that was released yesterday. We saw basically much of the West Coast experience a no class change in drought, except for this section of Nevada getting over here like toward Lake Tahoe, and then the central part of the Columbia Basin right in through this area did do a 1-class degradation overall. So we did see some drought get worse in places. Now I have some good news coming up, so don't fret just yet. But one thing I do want to show you is let's just look at this comparison again. March 9th, we're looking here at basin average snow water content. I do want to at least fast forward and show you this. This is now April 2nd. So the very good news is that throughout much of the Northwest, much of the Intermountain West, we have most of our numbers between 80 and 120%, and we want that. That's good. Also, like I said earlier this week, to keep things a little bit cool as we go into April is good. We want to prevent some early season melting here. Now, we do want to crank up those temperatures in May, not to dangerous levels, but get that early season accumulation of heat is great for a lot of our row crops in the Northwest and great for early season accumulation of heat through California as well. But just to point out, the numbers here in the Sierra Nevada have come up. Now, we've seen this recently, and those numbers are actually going to continue to rise. But like I like doing on Fridays, I do want to show you the Northern Sierra precipitation. This is an 8-station index. We're currently sitting at 24.2 inches when you average them. We should be sitting somewhere right up here if you just take a look at the beginning of April, around 45 inches. So still, we're at about a 20-inch deficit in total accumulated precipitation. Sliding south into the San Joaquin reporting stations, we're currently at 18, so a nice recovery here, but still overall in deficit compared to where we should be for this time of year at about 34 inches on average. And down to the Tulare Basin, we can see here that we are at 12.2. We should be sitting about 24, which gives us, again, about half of what we would expect through this time of year. Good news is the reservoirs still look good, and the snowpack is building. And I do have some good information for you about how it's going to continue to build. And it starts off right here. Now, this is the shortwave trough we're going to be watching. It doesn't look like much, does it? But we're going to be watching this and the low-pressure system forming out ahead of it over the next several days. I'm talking all the way into next week. Slowly move through California. Multi-day precipitation and snowfall event. Why is it so slow? You can thank this guy right here. That cutoff low has diverted the northern branch of the jet stream this way, the southern branch of the jet stream this way, and that blocked up bit of flow there is slowing the progress of all of this, which is what's going to give us this extended time period of, unfortunately, some cooler weather, but at the same time, much wetter weather. This is a very dynamic pattern to watch out for, and this cutoff low here has no reason to move, and that's what's slowing the whole thing down. So what are we talking about? Well, take a look at this. Over the next 7 days, so all the way out to next Friday morning, total accumulated precipitation across southern Oregon, California, and Nevada is pretty amazing here. While it's going to be drier in the Pacific Northwest and through Montana and Idaho, you can see that throughout California, widespread heavy rainfall at times. This is going to be one of these things where you're just going to have to watch each band come in off the ocean. It's going to run over the mountains, and we have the potential at the highest peaks in the Sierra Nevada to pick up over 3 feet. So I'm talking about the very highest peaks in the Sierra Nevada. Let's take a look at that compared to normal. So if we just say over the next week, what does it look like compared to the 1981 to 2010 climatological average? You can see that we're looking at some locations picking up an additional inch to 3 inches over what would be considered normal for that time period. So that cutoff low and how slow it is critical to this forecast time period. Now here's your snow maps. Northern California ranges through the Sierra Nevada, then getting into the Intermountain West in Nevada. Yeah, we're adding lots and lots of snow to this time period. So I'm excited to see what by midweek or the end of next week, what those basin average water numbers look like. They're certainly going to be coming up here. For the Cascades, Northern Rockies, not much. This is not anything to really be talking too much about. But we will be seeing this map change quite a bit over the coming days, I think. We currently have winter storm watches out for a big section of California right in through here. In fact, let me draw that over for you in black. And we still have frost and freeze warnings out along the coast. Now, I'll show you in a few moments where I anticipate this to continue to happen is going to be at relatively higher elevation. And despite some of the cooler weather that is in the forecast, while the Central Valley of California, I don't expect to see any freeze warnings or frost advisories as we move forward. I think we're going to keep our lows in the 40s overall, and you can thank cloudy nights for that. Those clear nights are the ones that really bottom out, but even though the overall pattern is cool, the cloudiness at night and the rain that's going to fall is going to prevent us, I think, from hitting a frost. Now, we still are in a time period here in the Northwest where we get frosts this time of year, so we're going to see how those temperatures still cool there. But let's go right into it. Ready? Doesn't look like much right now, does it? But this is Friday morning. Let's play this one forward. Yeah, you saw it. Watch this again. That low by Friday afternoon and evening, getting into Saturday morning, is now barreling in here into the California-Oregon coast. Now remember, it's all slowed up by that big low that's off the page here. So this is Saturday morning. Watch, ready? Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. Another little wave sneaks through British Columbia, comes down the backside. It's hard to even see, but it's just sitting right in through here, and it's going to kick this wave harder into the coast. Okay, this little low here. And as it does so, the backside sweeps around for Saturday overnight hours into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and evening. And the whole system teams up together now to give us a very wet second 2/3 of the weekend. And here we are into Monday morning, and it is still cranking now, moving through parts of the San Joaquin Valley and then hitting the central Sierra Nevada mountains. As this continues, this again is Monday morning, Monday afternoon and evening. While the Northwest, specifically, Oregon and Washington, get a little bit of a break, you can see that it's still going Monday evening through California. This is now Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon and evening. This is now Wednesday morning, afternoon, and evening. That low just doesn't move. Do you see that? I mean, it just sits there and spins. And what can you thank for it? That guy right over there didn't move at all either. That cutoff low has blocked up the pattern. And let's just keep going. Ready? This is now Thursday morning, afternoon, and evening. Getting into Friday morning. I mean, holy smokes. That thing sat there and just spun over this section of California for almost a week. And it's just impressive. I love these highly anomalous meteorological events. They're fun to analyze. And we do need the snowfall as we work our way into our dry season. So forgive the excitement, but it's pretty neat to see that happen. Well, let's talk about what's going to occur after this. This is now exclusively looking at week 2. At that time period, as that high pressure cell pushes east, as the low, that cutoff low, that's way off, off the page there moves over, that's going to give us a little bit drier week 2. So you can see here for California, when only looking at week 2, slightly drier than average, while we start to regain our normal northwest flow here in the Pacific, out of the Pacific, to hit the Pacific Northwest. I just want to show you what that looks like. I have now day 10, starting at day 10, GFS ensemble on the left, European on the right. This is a discussion we've been having for all this week. Now, what the models keep picking up on is this broad, elongated trough feature that sits here south of Japan all the way over to the Aleutian Islands. Now, the GFS cranks up a much more amplified ridge here into Alaska. Excuse me. Because of that, it wants to keep California on the wetter side of things into week 2. But I have seen the European be the better performer, and you can see a broader ridge, see it like that? And therefore, this is a drier pattern, while it could be wetter for parts of the Pacific Northwest as the flow comes out of the northwest, all right? Overall, though, if you get what the European is selling here, this will be a warm-up for the state of California. So I think we better talk about temperatures, because over the next 5 days, we're going to maintain that cooler bias across much of the western United States. How much cooler compared to average? Well, you know, it's 3 to 4 degrees cooler than average, all right? So this isn't as though brutally cold air is in place. So what I want to do is I want to show you using the National Digital Forecast Database what the next 6 days or 7 days looks like here in terms of minimum temperatures. So watch your specific region as I go day by day. This is this morning's low temperatures. Again, we were concerned about the frost risk right here along the coast. We still are below freezing up here in parts of the Columbia Basin. But as we play this forward, let's pause it here and then watch day by day. Ready? Here's Saturday morning lows. I see a lot of the Central Valley showing up with temperatures in the 40s. Remember, cloud cover keeps those overnight lows warmer than they would be. Here's Sunday lows, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So therefore, if we just look only at next week, okay, so next Monday through the following Monday, I end up getting, or excuse me, this Friday to next Friday, this is what I end up getting. Most of our cooler air is really tucked away down here as that low just slides through there. So it may be up to 5 degrees, 7 degrees cooler than average as it slides through here. But we're avoiding, it seems, the Central Valley frost issues, I think, in California. Cloud cover, again, is the culprit. Now, here's out to day 10. And then here is out day 10 through 15. Remember, at this time, what the European model wanted to do was broaden that flow pattern out something like that. And therefore, with ridging happening here, that just helps keep temperatures on the warmer side of things. So we need to watch out for some mid-month warmth. Now, I've struggled with this all week. You've been watching the videos. You know I've been struggling with this pattern as we get out here fully into week 2. I've got to watch it over the weekend, and I will report back to you to see if there's any changes. But just like last week, we got a huge model flip over the weekend. We're just going to keep an eye on it and see if it's more consistent this go around, all right? Last thing I want to show you is the latest European weeklies longer range. The main storehouse of cold air is right inside here, and it appears that the jet stream has a subtropical feel to it that does this, and it also has a northern branch that at times I think is going to be doing that, and that's why we see the cooler weather there and drier than average conditions for much of the west coast. What do we have here? Well, the subtropical branch may occasionally bring pieces up towards Southern California, but it's really going to crank up here over the southeast. And we could occasionally get some cutoff lows that instead of just following that flow do break off and come down into Southern California. So it's a complicated pattern, but this is what you've been looking at here. Excuse me, I should have told you at we started. This is April 8th through May 8th. And it's been a pretty consistent picture being painted for temperatures and precipitation for a while now. I'll keep you updated. Look forward to talking again on Monday. Have a great one. Thank you.